right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for My Hero Academia, Season 4, Episode 12.
And oh boy, the last episode, holy crap.
Yeah.
Mario's quirkless now. He is quirkless.
Yeah, but he's still a hero.
He's still a hero. He's definitely still a hero. And Deku's here now, so the day might just be saved.
Well, there's a lot of other people there with Deku who've been trailing along behind him all this time.
Man, yeah.
And with him, so we've got Nighteye, we've got Aizawa, we've got Rocklock.
Yep.
I believe we might have some others, but they're either farther behind or they might not be relevant to this fight.
But Overhaul has 4 bullets left.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, he also has a quirk that really doesn't matter how many people he's fighting up against.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people who aren't as kind of physical, heroes in that regard might be having a little bit of a problem here.
Yep.
Also, I think the main thing that we can realize here is that if Deku basically ends up, leading the charge into this here, the other villains alongside Overhaul are probably going to be done. They're probably going to be the ones that will get taken out, the quickest here.
Mm-hmm. Right, because there's Overhaul's one buddy that actually fired the shot.
Yeah, the fan boy.
But I can't imagine he has much fighting ability left in him. Yeah.
So, or not Chronostasis, but whatever his name was, Chrono something.
Yeah. I think it might have been Stasis, actually.
It might have been, yeah. But if that's the case, then they can get Eri away from him.
Hopefully.
And I would say, And Aizawa's going to be coming in, too.
Uh-huh. But the thing is that 4 bullets of permanent quirk loss, that's still plenty dangerous. So, like either in this situation or if Overhaul gets away, right? That's still something to be absolutely terrified of.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, thankfully, like, as far as Deku goes, he's faster than someone's ability to train a bullet on him.
Yeah, so, hopefully, yeah.
So that'll work out probably rather well.
Yep.
But hey, y'all, this is episode 12 of season 4, which means we're coming up on that sweet halfway point, which also means stuff's gonna get even crazier. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone. Now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Man.
So we got ourselves a Deku Overhaul fight here. Yeah. And what I love is that Deku couldn't win.
Right.
Like, this is something where when we look at Overhaul's quirk, when we look at how strong he is, when we look at what is needed in order to destroy, kill, defeat someone like Overhaul, yeah, in a lot of ways, Mirio was the brightest hope of them all in order to do this, and we knew that. Like, he was set up as the one that could take down Overhaul, and the fact that Mirio is now dying, like he is literally like not in such a bad as place as Nighteye, but
yeah, he's bleeding out.
He's bleeding out, and at the very least, he needs to probably just lie down, orient himself with the ground properly so that gravity doesn't work against him, and then just hope that someone comes to help him. But
before Toga does, because he's alone right now.
That's the thing. He's alone.
Yeah.
Toga and Twice are out there still, so we can't have the party split up in all these different areas here.
Yeah.
Holy crap, though. Nighteye held him off for a good, 20, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
And Nighteye has no
combat quirk. Like,
no combat quirk. I mean,
his quirk is very useful in one-on-one.
Right, but I'm sure his fights were, 5 to 10 seconds long.
Right.
And he would end them that quickly with...
Because you can see what the other person's going to do.
Right, exactly.
But, man. Wow.
And yet, Overhaul here not only stopped him, he gored him through the arm to the point where Nighteye's arm is... Yeah, but I think they're doing, again, a little bit of a best genus thing, in that it was like a bunch of this right here. Now, here's the thing. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to live, because this is still continuing here, but it is a death's door. Right. There is no one here right now that can help him.
Yep.
Yet.
Other than Overhaul.
Well, yeah. Actually, that's actually the messed up thing here is that, like, in a lot of ways, Nighteye is probably going to, be encountered by the heroes, and they're going to go, oh my god, I don't know what we can do about this.
Yeah.
Like, they might have to cut off his arm. That's my initial thought. Because it's just not able to do anything here. And then they're going to have to maybe utilize, I don't know, some Quirk combination or what have you, and just to stabilize him so he doesn't just die in the next, 20 seconds or so.
Yep.
But, yeah, he's still alive. Barely. But, wow, this got really, really scary really quickly.
And I loved what they did. One, the fact that Overhaul can use Voice Guy's quirk, that is ridiculous. That has ramifications, serious ramifications. But putting that aside, just the effect of, because the abuser basically calling out to the, and his voice being able to be heard from so far away, you can't, get away from me and all that.
Channeling a voice that isn't his, but based on the words, it's him. Him using the quirk was almost
poetic,
unnecessary.
But it was almost unnecessary, right? He could have probably said those things and it still would have had that same effect, right? And the idea of him saying, I can set all this right. I can fix everybody if you come back. That is such leverage because I think of something I don't know, any story where someone does the sacrifice, for the sake of the one they care about, right?
Right.
Like Tangled or something like that, right? But this is something where, one, it's not just one person, it's a lot of people, and this is bad. But I specifically, I can because of the things I've done to you.
Yeah.
I can make them all shipshape and send them on their way. And the thing is that you would think that there's no way he would ever do that, at least with Mirio, because Mirio could probably take him out.
I don't think Mirio can be repaired in that way because it wasn't his quirk that disassembled him.
Sure.
He needs to be the one that disassembles them in order to reassemble them.
Yeah,
so maybe he could save Nighteye.
Although he was still able to, although it has cleared up that he is able to heal people even if he wasn't the one hurting them. But yeah.
Right. I just don't know if he would be able to restore a quirk.
Yeah, I don't know. The fact that he can, maybe not. That's something that they could totally bring up. Or he could even say, I guess it's out beyond my power. I can't, I can't undo that because otherwise Mirio could probably take him out.
Well, I mean, that's probably the terrifying thing about this is that he has the powers of a god.
Right.
Is this FMAB stuff.
Yep.
We're all going to try and take down Father here. And if you remember what happened when they all tried to take down Father, is that multiple characters died along the way. Not even ones that were necessarily on their side against Father to begin with.
Right.
And still it came down to just a lot of luck and a lot of Nakama and everyone coming together to do this.
And specifically that in that situation they had a mana bar basically limiter so that if we whittle him down enough we can maybe beat him.
But not here.
No. Like the most they could do, the best they could probably do is if they got Aizawa back, right? If they got Aizawa back and then while he's neutralized they take him out, right?
Yeah. Or we get someone. Did they set up anyone that has any kind of long range kind of fire or some kind of projectile thing that could maybe help here?
Yeah, there are some other heroes that if they were here,
they took the bullets and they had to shoot him with them.
Oh.
His own bullets essentially.
Yeah.
I thought in some ways actually what would have been poetic here is, let's say we think back to the moment of Deku trying to tell her, no, go back to Senpai, go back to Lemillion. she doesn't seem to be, you know, as hypnotized as, like, it's almost
Right.
like his usage of that quirk isn't as perfect. Like, it's not as good as the way that the other guy used it, and that it, like...
Well, it's only that he can make people tell the truth. So he isn't able to actually affect, like, their decision process. It's just that they're it's a permanent auto fail save zone of truth kind of thing.
Right. Yes. Yes. Exactly. But, you're right. The thing I was going for was that she still has a quirk.
Yes.
And, like, I would assume in a lot of ways that her quirk is also the kind of thing that could thematically be the perfect thing to actually stop him.
Right, whether it's administered through the bullets or herself.
Right.
And one thing that I would love to see, potentially, because in these situations, right, they absolutely need to rescue Eri. There's also a part of Eri that needs to rescue herself, too, where she basically accepts the help. Right,
to choose the help. Yeah.
Right, to choose the help, because she is trapped by Overhaul. Even if it's not Overhaul physically there, this was demonstrated, right?
Yeah.
And that's a very real thing. What I would love to see is she goes over and more people come in, and it's hopeful for everyone else, but she's like, no, stop, please. And she goes over to Overhaul, and she's like, I'll go with you, just leave. And then she takes the bullets and she throws them to him. She throws them to the others.
Okay, sure.
As basically like a, you know, this is how you can stop him kind of a thing.
Also, another idea is that he would never probably let her touch the bullets or anything like that. And her quirk has to have some way of generally being administered, right?
Unless it's just a permanent thing in her body, kind of a...
Right, it's not a thing that she knows how to administer.
Right. Because
possible.
If she did, then she probably wouldn't be in the situation.
Okay, I want to basically throw out the idea there that because of how she was raised, she's so brainwashed and so terrified that she has never really used her quirk herself. And if she has, it was a thing that was always kept in a very, like, safe environment. And I think it would be like a beautiful twist in a lot of ways to have Eri destroy his quirk, essentially. Have it be something where even if it doesn't actually destroy it, it just damages it. Like, it's something that
and
actively helps the mechanics of the fight so that the heroes can then finish him off.
And her quirk might, the base form of it might not be a permanent destruction of quirks.
It needed to be changed in some way in order to be
know. and that's why Overhaul was working on it and stuff, because it could very well be that it's just a form of destruction, right? It's the one half of Overhaul's alchemy, basically.
Now they said that Chronostasis was saying that when he was talking to Aizawa, which, by the way, we totally called his quirk in terms of what the effect was, not the cause in which he instigates the effect.
Yeah, I saw it as more of like a whole person kind of a thing.
But it's more
like just
slow.
Yeah, just he slows you down
a lot. And
there you go.
That's ridiculously strong. But it's even crazier in that he fires off like clock arrow hair strands that have to pierce you. Yep. And then depending on whether or not it's the short one or the long one or what have you.
Inverse time effectiveness and all that stuff, whatever.
Sure. I wonder if he ends up having one that's like a fast one. That would be kind of cool. like he could pierce himself and then
that'd be pretty crazy. Yeah.
I'm on overdrive. But when he was talking to Aizawa, he was saying that Eri is the granddaughter of the leader, which is interesting because that suggests that there is a family bond involved here, but it's not that it's not necessarily that Overhaul is her father.
Well, okay, They could do something like that. I don't see why there would be any reason for them to do that. What I thought was interesting about that is that he specifically was focusing on the leader, not on Overhaul. Because
why is
that guy important? Because now, granted, a lot of the Yakuza were very much like, you know, still wanting to serve the the grandpappy, right? But Overhaul was in charge now. So, like, he seemed to talk about it more of like Overhaul is the one that will carry out the wishes of his dad.
But it wasn't his goal.
Right.
This whole thing was Chisaki's plan.
Right, exactly.
So in a lot of ways, you can see where Chisaki has his heart set, in that he basically demanded of his master here, give me your granddaughter so that I can do this plan and I can then experiment on her and do all this stuff. And he might not have been able to do it in terms of actually, like, letting him, until the guy was literally, like, dying.
Maybe
or,
I feel like
condition or what have you.
If she wasn't Overhaul's daughter, we would know by now whether Eri saying something or something.
Well, remember when he was like, "Wait, my daughter? Oh, that was the story I gave you." Remember when he said that?
No.
Overhaul was like, why would you do, like, I think Deku said something like, or someone said something like, why would you do that to your own daughter? And he's like, oh, daughter? Was that the story I gave you? Or he's like, oh yeah, that's the story I gave you in the alleyway. Yeah.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, I think that was a few episodes ago, like more than a few. And I don't remember the exact circumstances of it, but I don't think that Overhaul is her father. I think they're insinuating that
definitely changes things.
There's no blood relation there, because how did Overhaul join the Chihasakai anyway?
He's the son of the leader, of the previous leader.
Okay. Huh.
Well, and if she's not his daughter, what would be the point of saying that she's his daughter at this point, right? Like, or have basically reestablishing some connection. Yeah, like
relationship there.
Right.
I don't know. I think the main thing that could be maybe brought up is the whole lineage aspect of Quirks.
Yeah.
And that is that there's a possibility that the grandfather has something similar in his quirk to Eri. But if it's important that she's his granddaughter, then who are Eri's parents, and how did they have a child necessarily that ended up like this?
If that ends up being something that they bring up, of that Overhaul was lying about that this whole time, cool. I don't think they're going like, I mean, hey, if I missed that thing that you were talking about earlier, then yeah, totally. But I feel like that's a bit of a.
Well, we can revisit that at a future point. Yeah, because right now in this episode,
it's not super relevant. If they do make it relevant in some way, awesome.
Yeah, I can go back and rewatch the season.
I'm really curious to
I can
check that part
at
again.
A future point. But specifically with this episode, Aizawa has been removed from the situation, and when they were experimenting and talking and discussing on, with regards to Eri, Aizawa's quirk kind of was brought up in a lot of ways, as being like, hey, oh yeah, we used your quirk as a lot of reference points for what was going on here with Eri and stuff. So Eri essentially has a much more powerful, like, final, scarier version of Aizawa's quirk.
Yep.
And Aizawa being a character that, is one of the strongest, villain-stopping characters in the whole show.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense why then Eri is such a priority number one target for Chisaki. In terms of what her quirk, like, ends up being, like, used for at some point in the future. Because the main way that this goes is that Eri gets saved. Right. Overhaul gets dealt with, whatever that is.
Which is probably going to, like, the poetic thing would be for him to lose his quirk, because otherwise they have to kill him, and that might be a bit too dark for MHA.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's a problem with him being the instrument of his own demise in a way that he would die. I would say it would be rather dark, but it would be, I would say, almost a good kind of dark to have Overhaul disassemble himself.
Oh.
If he ends up getting pushed to the point where he realizes he can't win. And this is a situation where it's not going to end well for him.
Yeah.
And he wants to be more of like he's so sick of this whole thing, and he wants to in some ways have something that goes beyond, like he wants to have some kind of legacy, like he wants to have his plan still have meant something. He do something so incredibly like traumatizing if Eri is in eyesight, and something like that where he basically says, "This is all your fault," and then does something, tears apart his own quirk, basically goes all out in a big blast. Tries to kill as many of them as possible.
Well, and one of the things that could sort of solve the problem of is that, okay, if they beat Overhaul here, which I'm guessing they're going to beat
they
him
have
here,
to beat
right?
him.
Like if they don't beat him here,
but they have to get really clever here.
Right.
I have no idea.
One of the other things that from a story perspective becomes problematic if you have it exist is the 4 bullets. Here's why.
Yeah.
They take it to Tartarus and pop All For One.
Yeah.
You know, suddenly All For One doesn't have a quirk anymore.
Yeah, he's literally a plot juice breaking thing.
Now the there's aspects of that where that could actually cause for some really interesting story beats if they do that, because then they could be, one, subverting the whole idea of the big bad breaks out of the prison, but then also the big bad's still around because maybe they don't actually, maybe they'd actually discuss the death penalty at that point. But
okay, sorry, keep going.
But just the idea that then you could still have the voice of this bad guy around, even if the threat of him and his quirk is gone.
Or you have something even darker, which is where I've been wanting this show to go eventually, and it really goes full X-Men, because then the good guys realize Quirk destroying bullets, if we outfitted our police officers with all of these whenever we were going up against villains...
Oh, man. Yeah.
We wouldn't have to worry about villains, and then we could literally just safely remove all the villains from society, and then they would fall directly into Overhaul's plan of ruining this whole...
truly overhaul on society. And that'd be terrifying.
And that'd be terrifying because then you just have to realize, wait a minute, who decides what's a villain and what's not?
Right. And in a lot of ways they might say okay, that could be great, but that'd be a problem because then if we're only going after the villains, basically if we're not getting rid of all people with quirks, right?
People are going to keep having kids.
Well, people are going to keep having kids, but then you still have the issue of, okay, now you've escalated the conflict because villains could get their hands on those bullets.
Yes.
Even if they're kept very secure or whatever, that would be the main objective of any villain out there.
And I would say the terrifying thing is not necessarily that, more bullets will be made in a way that would be freaky with regards to the destroying time. But I would say that there's too much of them probably distributed at this point to where the weakened version of them is still going to be a relevant thing in society. But I would say almost immediately someone with a little bit of prescience, a little bit of
whether literally or
literally like Nighteye or someone, like one of the teachers or one of the pro heroes finds them after this all is over and doesn't wait for any kind of oversight as to what to do with these and just immediately destroys them as no, screw that. Yeah, that's not a thing we want to actually have as it being a thing. And then it's about Eri being one where she can get the attention and care she needs because the heroes are like, okay, we can't let her go into a villain's hands like this. So we're going to put her in a really safe situation. We're going to have people that are good people coming up to her and going through with that. But
okay.
What?
Last thing I'll say, and this is kind of dumb. Right? Because from a storytelling perspective, there are reasons why you wouldn't want to do this just because it would feel very anticlimactic. However, what are the 2 quirks that we always talk about being terrifying? Aizawa and Invisible Girl. They say that actually...
Invisible Girl didn't come here, though.
Are you sure?
Oh my God.
That Invisible Girl was here the whole time, and since everyone else busts through too, she's here too.
Jacob's like, they foreshadowed this. She trained with Snipe. She's been given a gun. Yeah.
No,
sure.
not given a gun. She just pulls the bullets out of Overhaul's pocket, takes one, and that's it. Overhaul's done.
Deus Ex Invisible Girl.
like think about that, because that would be what you would want to have happen, though. You would want the person that's
Overhaul's
invisible.
like, oh, you're approaching me from somewhere.
You don't know, and it's just
like,
a student. She's not like a pro hero, so it's not like they'd have like, you know, and you don't know if she's ever there. Just saying, like,
so. Brilliant, Jacob. Brilliant. With regards to what's actually going to happen,
because from a meta perspective,
we dropped a dragon on top of Overhaul here, which I don't see as actually a good thing. That's a big surface area target that I'm legitimately worried will just get splatted.
Yep.
Now, however, we have some students dropped in here as well, and also we have probably with them Nejire.
Right.
And she had a pretty ridiculous quirk.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think that, like, the three of them, they could do some serious stuff here.
Yeah.
And
Uraraka, like, touches a rock, and Tsuyu flings it at him.
Well, right. I am literally thinking right now, Uraraka might be actually the one to save everything here. Because think about what she can do, right?
Yeah.
I see combo potential. Combo wombo.
Also, evac. She just taps Eri, throws her up back through the hole. You know, then it's a thing of okay,
and Mirio.
Well, yeah, and Mirio. You know, anybody, right?
Yeah.
And then it's a thing of Overhaul. We might not be able to beat you, but we can keep you busy. And the thing is, you don't want to be fighting on the surface. You don't want to be fighting where there's other variables and numbers and things like that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And then,
this literally might come down to a situation where it's like, oh yeah, it goes to the surface. Things get,
even crazier.
Because then he just unleashes his frustration on the city. But in that respect, that means that everyone could get involved in terms of like pro heroes.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, this is a situation, we have a rampaging villain. This mission has been
Snipe and Headshot and
we have all kinds of characters that could do things that Headshot alone could. I'm going to penetrate you now, Overhaul. You don't want me inside you.
That could be very dangerous, because then he could use his quirk on Headshot. But if he's two-dimensional, if he's truly two-dimensional, he wouldn't even realize it.
Yeah, he wouldn't. Yeah. So I just love the idea of an Overhaul is crazy, going about destroying things, and it's just heroes slowly assembling at the perimeter, just being like,
very much father, it starts underground, then it goes above ground, and that's when it's real bad, right?
Yeah, and yet it's also when he loses.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, sweet. Let's let's escalate this shenanigans. So y'all,
Invisible Girl.
You really making me laugh so much. I'm sneezing. Y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, you can't, because we're watching it week to week with all y'all. But if you want to watch full-length timer reactions, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. Any level of support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general. You can talk with the manga-only people in there. Sorry, not manga-only, the manga people in there. You can talk with the anime-only people in there. You can talk with Jacob also about a book that he wrote.
That's
awesome.
Right, yeah. So I don't know if you're into books, but I wrote a sci-fi novel, and it's pretty awesome. It's called Battle Lines. It's available for purchase on Amazon. Links in the description below. It's in both hardback and ebook, so whichever works best for you, go check it out.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.